Hey everyone, this is Sarah. Welcome back to my channel, Eclectiverse. I finally have a new microphone. Unfortunately, the laptop that I ordered actually had some issues with the keyboard, so that is in being repaired. Hopefully I will have that gaming laptop back probably within the month. So hopefully we will be using that soon. In the meantime, I now, like I said, have a new microphone. How does it sound? How do you like my voice now? I still have a ear and sinus infection. Turns out I've had an ear infection for almost 3 months now. So yeah, I'm seeing my doctor about that. I've been having some health issues with getting sick a lot. Could be related to having mono last year. Could be related to having chronic allergies and chronic anxiety. We just don't know. So we're working on that. But in today's video, I decided to build a kind of A-frame cabin-esque, maybe Airbnb or condo. I thought about just doing the A-frame portion of it, but decided against that. I just really wanted some extra space, and it's kind of difficult to build in just an A-frame. So I did decide to add a little side section to it. Now, I know in this video I made it look like very simple building the house, but the actual building of it took me about 2 hours. It was very stressful. I'm sad to admit. I wouldn't say stressful, not in the sense of like stress that I feel whenever I'm talking to strangers, but stressful in like, why is this not working? It was so confusing. And I did have to look up a tutorial for the mansard roof because I've never done that before. So guys, don't feel bad about looking stuff up because I do it all the time. I guess I should explain what a mansard roof is. It's the roof portion that's on the left. I had no idea what it was. I'd seen it before. I had to look up what kind of roof that was because I didn't know what it was, but I knew what I wanted it to look like. So that was a fun little journey on Google. You can see I kind of struggled with deciding what to put on the outside for the siding. And I will actually show you what this, I'll put up a picture of what this build was based off of because I did have an inspiration and I was trying to get it to be green, but there just wasn't anything that looked right. And then I was like, well, I really like the blue, so I decided to just stick with the blue. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only one who does this, but pretty much every build I do is based off of something I've seen or a combination of a few things, but this one was definitely very much based on that picture I showed. I had a really hard time choosing the windows for the mansard roof, and honestly, I'm still not 100% happy with them, but they get the job done. They kind of fit the theme. I just felt like they were just a little bit too big for that window area, and even when I had the window area bigger, it still just kind of didn't look right, so I wasn't fully satisfied with that, but I think it still turned out in the end looking pretty good, so in the end I was satisfied. I don't know if it's just me, but I always have a hard time doing landscaping, so sometimes I have a hard time like figuring out where to put things. You can kind of see me struggling here. Like, I don't have a problem with bushes or flowers or, you know, those smaller plants, but when it comes to figuring out what the heck to do with the trees, I just have such a hard time. Luckily, I did eventually figure it out. I decided to use those rocks, so I think it turned out pretty good. So, how have you all been doing? I've been pretty good, you know, other than generally just being sick, which is frustrating. But besides that, I've been having a pretty good time. I had to take a couple days off of work, so I got to relax and just take some time to rest. It is frustrating as an adult getting sick because you're like, well, I don't want to miss work because I need money, but I also don't want to get so sick that I have to miss a lot of work and lose a lot of money. So it's like you're constantly in this battle with yourself, like, do I go to work? Do I not go to work? Obviously, if I was having symptoms of the 2020 virus, I would not go. Outside of that, it's just really hard to make that kind of decision, especially when you need money, which most people do. Most people need money to survive. So my mom and I went out on a walk today with my dog, and we saw some poop on the ground, which is not uncommon because dogs poop on the ground. So my brother is 6 years older than me, and apparently there was a time whenever he was in elementary school that he was walking to school for the day, and the school is like right down the street from our house, and he saw something on the ground and he thought it was peanut butter, So he picked it up and he ate it and quickly realized that no, it was not peanut butter. It was, in fact, dog poop. And he was eating dog poop. So it's a fun little story I like telling people. And not to worry, he was totally fine. Nothing bad happened. He didn't get sick or anything. He just never made that mistake again. I'm not sure why I like using white trim on all of my builds, but I don't know. It just seems like it's really crisp and put together. I don't know why. I do try to experiment with other things, but then I do it and I'm like, that doesn't look good. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal taste. I don't know, but that's what I always end up going with. And I ended up using those Christmas lights on the windows. I just thought it looked really vacation-y, you know, like something you might see whenever you're going to stay in like a cabin in the woods. And not the creepy kind where you're gonna get killed, but like the modern chic kind. I really liked the stone path that I had leading up to the front door and kind of bringing it out to the whole front of the A-frame. I don't know. I didn't really have to think about it. Usually whenever I'm putting a walkway or something, it takes me like 5 or 6 tries to get it the way I want it. But this time it just flowed and it went so smoothly and I was so happy because, let's be honest, a lot of other parts of this build did not go smoothly. But you know, that's just how it is sometimes building in The Sims. Sometimes it just be like that. I deliberated about adding a pool in the back or not, but I decided, you know, if this is a vacation home, I feel like it should have a pool. Although I guess depending on where this home is, like if it's supposed to be in the mountains, it might be a little chilly, but I guess you could have the pool heated, so imagination. Now, I know nobody asked, but right now I'm recording in a closet because it has the best sound environment. There's carpeting, there's clothes everywhere, so yeah, it just worked out. So I'm recording in a closet. Hello, I am Closet Woman. On another note, I was really loving the way it looked during the evening. I really liked the lighting. I think it turned out really good. And I also really liked having that space on the top of the house, like the roof area. I don't know, what do you call that? Like a seating area on the roof? Let me look it up. So apparently they're called decks, I guess. That's new to me, but all right. So the inside of the house was actually really fun to mess around with. I don't normally do modern furnishings, so this was a new experience for me. I struggled with these stairs. I did end up just going with them slightly being in the wall a little bit, and it worked out fine. Also, I don't know why there was like a missing section of siding on the outside of the house. I don't know how that happened, but it'll go away later. You'll see. I noticed it at some point. Look, I'm not a professional simmer. I'm just here for a good time, so don't judge me. Yeah, like I was saying, this build was a little difficult for me, or a little different, I guess, because it was so small. Typically, when I build houses, they're very big and have very large floor plans, so I have a lot of space to fill. But this time, I had to work with a very small amount of space, so it was actually a bit of a challenge for me, which I love, so that's okay with me. And I do think it ended up working out really well, and I managed to utilize the space in a way that was both fashionable and utilitarian. Do you ever just think about how animals have like no concept of time, really? Like, I have a dog, I also have cats, but I have a dog, and it doesn't matter whether I left 8 hours ago or I left 10 minutes ago. When I come back, he is so excited to see me. I know that's typical of dogs, but I don't know. I really feel like it proves the point that they have no concept of time. If you hear a little jingling in the background at some point, that's my cat. He's got a little jingle bell on his collar. He's so cute. Oh God, I got up just a second ago and I am not made for sitting on the floor. Ooh, let me tell you, gosh. Am I the only one that has a hard time with sitting crisscross applesauce? Because it's difficult for me. I think it's always been. It was a little easier when I was consistently doing yoga, but then I decided to start incorporating like bar and HIIT, and I didn't do as much yoga, and now my flexibility is so abhorrent. It is ridiculous. Also, that fireplace that you see is a custom content. I will link that in the description in case you guys like it and would like to use it. So with the wallpaper, I ended up using a really like crisp white theme, a very modern theme. I used a lot of white in this build and light wood colors. And I actually decided to go crazy and use some big mirrors. I'd never used these before in my builds, but I put them back there and I was like, that looks great. Like usually when I use them, they just look so out of place. And I think it's because most of my builds are more traditional and less modern, so it just doesn't work. But for this, it really worked out. And I don't know, I guess that's not true. I'm sure there's a way that you can make those kinds of wall mirrors work in a traditional style home. I'm just not good at it, so it just doesn't work for me, so I don't use them in that kind of build. I also tried to use a lot of plants in this build to kind of liven it up and give it more of a chic, modern, yet you're still in the forest or the woods kind of feel. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not, but that's what I was going for. So the kitchen ended up being kind of a struggle because of the size of that first floor. There wasn't a whole lot of space to work with. So I actually ended up splitting it up on either sides of that room, that little section of the house. And I think it worked out well. I don't know how in real life that would work, if it would be a little awkward maybe, but this is The Sims. So let's just suspend our disbelief. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to fit a table in the middle there or where I was going to put a dining table, but there actually turned out to be just the right amount of room in order to put, stop it, to put a table in there. So it all ended up working out well, and I think it looked pretty good. Oh no, what are you, no, okay, I put him outside now. He is no longer in this room. So yeah, like I said, the kitchen ended up being a little weird, but I feel like I made it work. I made it look cohesive, and I think this whole bottom floor ended up working out really well. And I don't normally, on most of my builds, if you've seen my other builds, I always forget to add handrails on the stairs. So they're just like stairs out in the middle of the open, which in some builds, that's okay. Like that's the look. But at the same time, it's like most of the time, that's probably like not realistic at all. I mean, it's The Sims, but still, it's like, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I probably could have made the bathroom a little bit smaller than it is. But whenever I was making the initial floor plan, as you saw earlier, it just looked weird as anything less. And I didn't want it to cut into the windows. So I was like, I'll just make it go all the way across that area. So it did end up being kind of long but thin. So it was a little awkward to work with, but I think I made it work okay. Later on, I put another mat in there as well and add a few extra pieces just because it does look a little empty. And that's the thing with having a lot of windows in that area. It makes it difficult to find any place like open wall space to put things like toilet paper or a towel, but I think I ended up making it work. I feel like that's like the motto of my life. I think I made it work. I actually had a lot of fun with the second floor, which I made into the bedroom / study room, I guess. Again, like I said, I'm not used to working with really small, closed, awkward spaces, so I had to figure out how to make that work. And actually, I really liked that. It was a lot of fun. It was a challenge. It was difficult. I had a hard time figuring out what to put over the bed. I wanted to put a picture or something, but there just wasn't anything that just worked for me. You'll see here in a minute that I end up picking out that Normal Things shadow box, which I felt kind of went with it. I just didn't have anything that was perfect, and I didn't really feel like going and looking into CC. I really just wanted to use, other than the fireplace that I got, I just wanted to use what I already had. And I had actually picked out that fireplace ahead of time, anticipating what I was going to want to use down there on the first floor, so that was already planned. It wasn't like I went looking for it while I was building. So yeah, I added a little study area there. I do realize it kind of looks like they could just like sit down in the chair and roll right off the edge of the staircase area and like right down the stairs, but you know what? Suspension of disbelief, man. So I was thinking about maybe adding something to the terrace area, the roof area, but I just couldn't find anything that looked good, so I just went over to the backyard with the fence, and I put a couple lawn chairs out there. Are those lawn chairs? What the hell are those called? Recliners? Recline chairs? I don't know. You know what they are. You get the point. I added a little bit of foliage. I added a grill and all that, all the stuff that is absolutely crucial when you are staying in a cabin. And there you see me adding the extra stuff in the bathroom that I was talking about. And then I did a final little look over to make sure that everything looked good. And I decided to add those 2 shelves there just as a place to throw your keys when you get there. And that's the end of the build. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and definitely comment below and let me know how you thought I did. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!